I'm really curious about some of your backstory because I just had someone else on the other day who does somatic work, and their pipeline was, CPA to somatic work, and you had, like, business, and I'm like, "What is this?" But she had a dance background. I think I read that you did too, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I was like, "Dang, okay, maybe I do need to get my daughter in dance. Like, this is so good." Well, although I have tried to, but she doesn't like structured classes. She really likes natural movements, but she doesn't wanna do things with a class. And I'm like, "Okay, great, but we gotta make dance more of a, like, part of your life, dang it." But I
Yeah.
was just curious because, your profile mentions personal loss, and you're teaching people a lot about how movement and prescribed movement too, but how it can impact you in such a positive way. So I wanted, if it was okay, to kind of cover some of that backstory, like what l- what you once were, what led you into what you are now.
Okay. What was I at one point? Born in the Southeast, a gal, born in the '60s, but my heyday was the '80s. And even though I was a dancer and, poetic and all that kind of stuff, I had this whole science side of me. I love the brain. I think it's interesting to understand how people work. Some kind of an interesting natural talent when I was very young in high school, junior high, high school. People would come up to me, strangers, and say, "I hear you're really good to talk to. Can I talk to you?" And I'm like, "Sure. Okay."
Okay.
And, and I always also, because I come from a medium-sized, pretty small town then, um, the value of being a vault and making people feel safe so that they can open up and release these things that are bothering them. Okay,
Mhm.
so you see that at a very early age, just getting stuff off your chest, right? Another thing is I was an athlete since the time I was 3 years old. I was skiing at 3. By the time I was 6, I was on a track team. I know I cheerled, I skied, I skated, I rode horses, I did track, I was a big tennis player, USTA, all the things because we are an athletic family. But the thing that I love the most is funny, when I was in 1st grade, yeah, my mom and dad asked me, "You gotta do something in the arts," talking about your daughter. "You have to do something in the arts. What do you wanna do?" And I was, like, so busy. I'm like, "I don't know, you
Yeah.
pick." My mom played the piano. So I took 6 years of piano lessons and hated it.
Oh,
And then
no.
the first time I took a dance class, my friend in 7th grade goes, "Come to dance class with me. I think you'll like it." Fell in love and then took off from that point on. Because I was in my body, which I
I get
learned to
it.
be as an athlete, you have to know where your body is at all times to train yourself to be better physically through rote movement. That's, with the tennis and building confidence, physical confidence through all the things that I did. The neat thing about dance was it wasn't that structured. So I really understand what your daughter was talking about by not wanting a structured dance class. Like, I would not put her in ballet.
Right,
Ballet is
right.
strict. Oh, but I was in modern dance, okay? We danced to Earth, Wind& and Fire.
I love it.
But it was free, man, and
Yeah.
when I was in high school and going through the angst of growing up, I would go to dance class, I'd dance it out, man, and I would go home and feel better.
Yeah.
So that's a clue. Then I went into college, then I was supposed to be pre-med, well, I ended up in psychology instead, which I loved, and I was dancing as much as I was studying because I got pulled into the dance group, and then for 4 years, I was choreographing and dancing and performing.
Wow.
So I had that dichotomy of a life, right? The science, which is very creative, by the way. Scientists and artists have the same brains,
Yeah.
you know? They think about things that aren't there yet. They experiment. They try even with their body, let's say, to draw a
Yeah.
different picture.
Wow, I've never thought of that. You're so right, though.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to go really fast through what happened. I lived a really great growing up life. I went through the regular stuff, but no trauma yet. And so therefore, I met a guy and he totally took me off my path. He was a shiny object. I was headed toward international marketing. He's from Columbia, South Carolina. I got pulled into his world. I ended up running all of his businesses and got married. And on our second child, I was pregnant with our second child, 3.5 months pregnant. He kind of stopped coming home. He had a studio. He was an artist. He had a studio and he just wasn't coming home. I had a feeling, you know, I had a feeling inside my body that something was wrong, and I just couldn't bear the thoughts of what that feeling was telling me, but decided I better go check it out myself.
Mm.
And that night at 2 a.m. in the morning, I walked in on him dancing naked with a naked woman, and the whole thing blew up. And it was became very angry and a bit violent
Oh,
at me, the pregnant
yeah.
mom. So anyway, yes, that's my first big recorded trauma in my life. And it really hit me hard because I had lived this life of expectation that Disney kind of trains us to believe in, right? The knight in shining armor, you live happily ever, you fall in love, and you go through all these things. Oh, you find each other, and then it's happily ever after, and you grow old, and you have gray hair,
Yeah.
dogs and grandkids, that thing, which is a lovely scene, but not most people get there on a straight path. So, it annihilated me. I
Yeah.
mean, it broke down every every thought I had and anything I knew about anything in life. I'm like, "It's not true. None
Oh,
of it's
yeah.
true."
What a betrayal to your existence.
My whole existence at that time. So
Yeah.
that was the trauma that made me, instead of getting bitter and fighting the world and why me, was like, "Wha this is so out of the blue. Why did this happen to me? Let's look at me. Did I attract this? I've never even seen this kind of stuff in my life, this thing that happened to me." So, that was the doorway to the deep self-exploration.
Yeah. So what did you discover in that exploration?
Family secrets. Um, so apparently in my life, I was all hidden from me.
Mhm.
My mom, I was the only, daughter. I was the last of 4 children, the only daughter. So
Okay.
I was treated and raised differently than my 3 older brothers who are just about a generation away from me. Same
Oh,
dad.
okay.
Yeah, this'll blow you away. My parents were born in 1913 and 1923.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Okay,
I
that's
know.
pretty wild.
Yeah. I was raised by these people that were 2 generations,
So out of
beyond.
touch
Mhm.
but everything you described when you first talked about your childhood, they seemed normal. I mean, for what
Well,
that generation was.
but it is I mean, the foundation of life really is not different than
That's
the
so true.
foundation, the pursuit of happiness. There's nothing different between the 1920s and now. How it happens and what's around us,
Sure.
support or not support, completely different. But a human's pursuit of safety, of confidence, of happiness, the Maslowian, triangle, I reference that a lot in my books
Yeah.
and everything. It's it's foundational.
Yeah.
So, yes, they were old, but they were very supportive. Very, very, very
Yeah.
supportive of me.
How were
Um,
your brothers with you? I'm just curious.
okay, so what you're knocking on the door of is what I should say and what I shouldn't say because I am from the South.
Uh-huh.
But I will say, I would love to say that it was a loving family and they were knights in shining armor and they protected me. They did none of that.
Yeah.
I was a nuisance.
Yes.
When I was born, it was tabled in my life that I was something super special. To them, I was a complete, like, "What have you done? What are you?" I was an alien,
Yeah, why'd we get a
like
baby?
a baby and a baby girl, and why are you
Yeah.
all being so different with her? It was
Today, I want to share a book series that truly meets you where you are.
Letters to Myself by Jen Taylor, LCSW, is a powerful collection written by a New York based spiritual psychotherapist with over 23 years of experience. Each volume invites you to write your way through trauma, healing, and self compassion, from sexual assault and abuse to bullying and cult recovery. These aren't just books you read, they're books you work with. If you're ready to reflect, release, and reconnect with yourself, search Letters to Myself by Jen Taylor on Amazon today, and I will also have a link in the show notes.
Immediate, like, confusion, and then it
Mhm.
was anger, and
Yeah,
then jealousy,
yeah.
and then after that, it was apathy because they just had to deal with me.
Mhm.
And now my parents are gone, you can imagine that they're passed away, and so anything that was, "We do this because we're family. We gather because we love each other. Blood is thicker than water." Well, all that goes away.
Yeah,
All
when your
that
parents yeah, when you lost your
Yeah.
parents, you kinda lost the whole unit, right?
You shouldn't
Right,
in the
right.
world of you shouldn't, but
Yeah,
I did.
yeah. Okay. I only asked because my boys were much older. Well, not as I don't think separated in age, but my oldest is 23. We just lost my middle child of last month, but he was 18 and then my daughter is 11. What I've noticed, they've always been pretty good big brothers, honestly, but what I've noticed is the contrast between how I was with them and how I am with her post mental health crisis. Um the resentment comes up a lot with, like, particularly my oldest, like, he voices the resentment a lot of, like, if I had done that, or why does she get by with that, things like that. Or even just why is she allowed to, because I was a psycho with the boys, like, where I was like, "No, you can't," but I had started lightening up on the middle one even because they were 4.5 years apart, but, um, I didn't let them, like, go to friends' houses and stuff because I was just uber paranoid, and I allow her to do that, not, like, run in the streets. That's so something my grandma would have said, but, like, I let her go see friend's house, and my son cannot handle that. Still, he's 23 and still every time he's like, or I allow her to have friends over. That was I still don't really choose to have company over for myself because that's like a really weird thing for me, but it's a cycle I'm trying to break with her, so I'm allowing her to have friends oh my god, it pisses him off so bad. I am constantly having to apologize for how I raised him
Do
because of
not
her. Because of her. He's always pissed.
do not apologize to him for the way he was raised. You did, as all parents do the very best they can in the moment that that happened. That
For
they
sure, but I still wanna say, like, if he's voicing a hurt over something, I wanna be like, "I'm sorry that that I didn't have the right information then," or whatever.
and you were a first-time mom. I mean,
At
we're all
22. I had
I
him
know,
at
but we're all
22.
scared. We don't know, and you did it that way, and, I'm sorry for how it's landed on you now, but understand, I mean, oof, that would take some digging to, like, do you think I favor your sister? I'd start asking questions like, "Why is this still dwelling with you?" Yeah, I
I
raised you
think it yeah, I
differently.
think it just hits him in, like, it feels like a betrayal because I was so insistent at this stage of my life, because used to, whenever I was more emotionally unavailable, my response would be like, "And did you get sexually abused? Okay, then." That mission accomplished. But now I'm like, and I understand that, because so much of the hurt, it has nothing to do with her. It's he didn't feel seen then, he doesn't it brings that up, like, that he doesn't feel seen in that those actions impacted him and the way he moved in the world. I mean, some of that is normal, like, how you're raised, like, we none of us know what the hell we're doing when we're raising kids, so, like, all of us are gonna go through something, so much of what he's talking about is that, but I think it was my unwillingness to meet him there in the past when he would bring it up that makes it especially hurtful, so now I'm like, "And you're right, that sucks that." happened, but here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you said, I asked you what you discovered. You said family secrets.
Oh, yeah. So, I found out, to make a long story short, that the same thing had happened to my mom. She'd actually walked in on my dad with the second child, my second brother, 3 months pregnant, and he was found him in bed with the nanny and or the babysitter, whatever they
Yeah.
had back then. Um, and the thing is, she has hidden that. She'd hidden that all her life, right? But I'd done enough therapy after that thing happened. I didn't tell my mom what happened at first, right? I
Mm.
came home and I'm sitting on the floor of the kitchen and she was talking to me and she goes, I think something's up or whatever. I'm like, yeah, mom. So this happened to me. She's like, oh, honey, oh my God. And I said, tell me what happened to you. I mean, I literally gave her no wiggle room. What do you mean, honey? I said, I know this had to have happened to you because this is a family pattern. These are patterns that come down, mom. It's so out of the blue. I had to dig deep to figure out the only way these kind of things happen is this is something that is coming down to be healed and it's happening to me. So tell me when it happened to you. And oh my God, she burst into tears. She's never talked to anybody about it. Nobody. Don't tell your brothers. I'm like, I'm not going to tell anybody, but you need to talk to me about it because I'm living out what you have not acknowledged.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit rolls downhill and it emotionally, psychogenetically, that's what happens in our family patterns. So she had a lot of patterns she had to break in her life. And then the things that she didn't deal with they were coming up to be broken in my life, family patterns. So
Yeah.
that's what I found out. I was like, oh, okay. That's why I drew in this guy, this
Mhm.
man, because he had the same energy composition of my dad. He was a philanderer. It's not like it was anything new, but I just thought
Right.
he would do it for me, that he loved me that much, turned out a narcissist, all the things.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, Melissa, that I would not be who I am now. I wouldn't be as strong. I wouldn't be as open, as humble, as vulnerable, as powerful in my vulnerability if that hadn't happened to me.
Yeah.
So I don't have any bitterness or shit about it because God, I heard at the time. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what the hell's going on.
Yes.
But picking up those pieces and I was shattered. Though and finding out, well, this is what works for me against this vision of whatever I was spoon-fed. But
Yeah.
this is how life is for me now. So wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That is wild. Okay, so I want to ask this because oftentimes we talk about, these events in retrospect and we skip quite a few of the stages. I would like to talk about the very early stages of the after just for a minute. Because I know that you didn't go from broken to this overnight, obviously. So what did those early date like this event occurred, you found him, it got violent, you're pregnant. So then like how did you start to repair? How did you start to kind of move pieces of your life back together?
Well, I took space that very night. I went and got my other baby, and I went to a guest house of my in laws, his actual mother and sister. And I called them on the way out there. This is like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, something's happened. Or maybe I waited till the morning. I'm not sure. But I had a support group, I will say,
Good.
a group of women that we were in gestalt therapy. We were in therapy together. We did group therapy. And I
Cool.
called one of them because I was in crisis, and she talked me through, right? Just so when crisis happens, it becomes like a fire drill. You have to
Mhm.
take care of the most vulnerable. You have to take care of the immediate. And the immediate thing was getting me and my other child to safety to where we could take a breath because it was very
Mhm.
unsafe where we were. So we got to safety, and then she said to me, she goes, "You need to take care of that child."
Quick ad break. If you're feeling stuck, disconnected, or like your spirit and mind aren't speaking the same language, Jen Taylor, LCSW, might be exactly who you're looking for. Jen is a spiritual psychotherapist who blends Reiki healing, spiritual psychotherapy, astrology, coaching, tarot, and oracle card readings to help you gain clarity, release blocks, and reconnect with your inner wisdom. Whether you're navigating emotional healing, spiritual growth, or a life transition, Jen offers intuitive guidance grounded in real therapeutic support. Learn more or book a session with Jen Taylor where healing meets insight. You can check the show notes for how to get in touch with her.
Child inside of you. Because the one that didn't know what had happened, he was, somewhat separated from it. Of course, all that kind of emotionally comes down. He was in bed, he was fine, he was okay. But this one inside of me had
Yeah.
experienced the entire thing
Mhm.
with me. So she's like, "You've got to, like, go draw a bath. Go calm down. Take your nervous system down. Do whatever it takes, breath work, salt, something to bring yourself down to a meditative state and talk to your baby and let him know it's okay, that you're all right and that he's gonna be okay." I don't know if we knew he was a he then quite yet. Uh, so that I did that. I took care of myself, and then you have to go and do the things like, file police reports. Ick, ick, ick. You had to go and, go to the doctor and have them look me over. I mean, I had to go and get a physical exam, make sure I and the baby were okay.
Yeah.
That stuff's awful, but I do wanna say to anybody that's had any trauma or anything like that, go do it. You have to.
Yep.
You have to get records of it. Anyway, and then I took a trip by myself.
Nice.
It was already planned. This is when I look back, I'm like, "God, that's weird that you did
Yeah.
that." But I went off to Wyoming. Yes, I went off to Wyoming by myself as a planned trip just to take a little time, and I got there, and I'm pregnant, so I can't do drugs. I didn't do them anyway, but I can't drink. I chose my baby over that kinda stuff. I had respect for the baby, and I couldn't really overeat or be crappy to my body because I had this responsibility inside me, so I could do no diversion, and all the hotel rooms that I got had no TV in it. It was all about outdoor adventure.
My gosh.
So it was like me.
No numbing or escaping for you.
No! No TV, no any kind of food or drug or alcohol, none of that. It was a rental car and me and my thoughts, and these beautiful sights. Beautiful, beautiful sights that the life is bigger than what I'm experiencing. I
Yeah.
did not discount that what I was experiencing was absolutely horrific, but there is a bigger world out there, and you will figure this out. At some point, you're gonna be okay. You've got to ride this because I had no other choice. I had to just so I did things like, I'd drive down the road and I'd see this thing off the side. It said, the plane rides, what are they called? The glider plane rides, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that sounds like fun." So I went off into a glider plane, and it was just me and this guy and no engine, right? A plane takes you up and then
Yeah. Oh
drops
my
you off.
god.
And so I'm gliding down and just thinking you can see the world down below you.
Mhm.
I guess it's a shift in perspective.
Yes.
To get out of your own quagmire, you're gonna have to crawl out of the well. Whatever it takes to crawl just to get a perspective of the horizon, because everybody has a horizon, they just got to connect to it,
Mhm.
doing whatever it takes to get out of that dark well of consuming emotions. So that would say that's about the first few steps I took.
Wow. Well, those were really great steps. How cool that you already had a support group in place too. That's you had it's crazy how sometimes when you're kind of on an aligned path in some way, some of those choices will help prepare you for the really hard stuff that you don't even know you're about to encounter. So that's cool that you had already, I mean, you had a lot of really good information too already, like, and then the good people around you. So that's really cool. So then how did all of that turn into a collaboration with what you felt in dance?
Well, I had Gotta think of the timing of all this, right. I had this my 2nd child, and at the end of that year, after I stayed married, by the way. I stayed married because I'm like, "What else am I gonna do?" I didn't see all the other and I shoulda moved home. There's a lot of shoulda, 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 but I didn't wanna move home with my tail between my legs. I didn't wanna lean on my family. I had moved away to discover who I am, and, and if I run into a brick wall, I'm gonna have to pick myself up, and that's kinda who I felt like I had to be. I probably
Mhm.
coulda done things easier. I don't know. But about 2 years, 3 years into after having him, I did break my knee, by the way, in the middle of all that.
Oh,
Yes, that
oh
was
my
it.
god. Not gliding, hopefully.
No, dancing. I was in a dance class. I was
Gosh,
taking a dance
that's
class, and I fell
terrible.
in a dance class and split my knee in half. But,
Ooh.
and I had to get over that. But at the end of that year, I was strung out and exhausted and really just didn't know, like, is this the life I'm gonna lead? I had this husband that was spending part of his time down in a studio. I was out in the house with the kids out in the country because I wanted to get away from all that downtown stuff, which is all his, the bars and the restaurants and the girls and the drugs and the alcohol and
Yeah.
all that's down there. And I wanted to get away. And I did have a massage therapist who was also into the, spiritual stuff like I was, and he handed me a magazine. He said, "You should look through this. They've got great workshops." It's called the Omega Institute up in New York,
Cool.
and it's this thick, and I thought, "Who's got time to look
Right?
through all that?" Excuse me, I'm exhausted. But I was laying on my bed and I had 5 minutes. So I'm like, "I'll just look through this thing." I looked through it. I landed on a page that was called Dance Kinetics, and the way it was explained to me about movement and how it connects to our emotions and our thoughts and how it's all together and how you can use it to heal and to exorcise these things, I actually started crying. My heart, like, burst open. I'm like, "Oh my I have to do this." This is me. It was like one of these aha moments that blew me away, and I went to my husband and I said, "I think I have to do this. I'm gonna ask you, are you okay? Because then the kids are gonna be with you, blah, blah." And he goes, "I think you're just gonna do it." And I'm like, "I really think I need to." Anyway, somehow I created the ability to leave my kids for 30 days. I know this is a big risk and go up to Rhinebeck, New York, to a place I've never seen, never heard of, fly up there, end up in this room, in this cabin thing, whatever. And I started going to these classes. I was getting my certification. I was 8 hours a day
Wow.
moving, getting conscious with my emotions, learning about the body fluids and how they run through our body and how they're connected to life forces. I mean, all the things that came in, body mind centering. We had music therapy and how that, goes along with it. And I learned all about how music evokes certain movements that connects with our emotions. It was wild. And by the end of
Yeah.
that, I got a certification and I was changed for life, actually, because I had shed so much of whatever crust was left on this
Yeah.
pile. I shed it so much, and when I came home, I was just one big loving heart. And when my husband met me, he was like, "God, what has happened to you? You're just." I'm like, "I don't know. I'm loving life. I'm loving who I am. I'm loving this thing I did. This is who I am." And then I found out that he had been having an affair for that whole time with somebody else's babysitter, and the kids had been together, and it was awful. It was really awful. But I was in such a blissful space. I'm like, you'll get over her, and then you'll come back to me. Just, go have your fun. I was so blissed out.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
You
I
were like,
mean,
"None of my business."
but, I wouldn't be that way nowadays, maybe. I don't know. But I was dancing every day, so whatever would come up, I would express it. I could, like, express it out here. I could look at it and let it go. It was wild. And
Yeah.
then I finally got to the point where it wasn't cool anymore, and I asked him one time, I'm like, "Are you in love with her?" He goes, "I think I am." And I'm like, "Okay, well, then that's it. We're getting
Yeah.
a divorce." And once that happened, I realized what the rest of my life looked like, which I had no idea, and I found myself in a fetal position, paralytic on the floor of my studio, curled
Mm.
up. I couldn't move. I'm like, I can't the world was so painful. I could not move outside this tiny little cocoon I'd made myself, 'cause the only place
Yeah.
I felt safe was completely wrapped in my own little self.
Mhm.
And I said, "You have to move. I mean, you can't just sit here and die here. You've got kids to take care of, you gotta move. Move something, move anything." And I literally just started kinda moving my hands just to get it unwrapped from, being pulled together. And
Yeah.
I ended up turning on some music, and I let it flow through me, and I started moving, and the tears came. It was like, I don't know, lifetimes of grief and sadness. And it was probably my mom's grief and sadness, now that I think about it. It was just all the stuff, the acknowledgement of what's happened, of the breaking of the fairy tale, of letting it go, creating a life, following my own bliss, following my own love, following things that delighted me, and
Mhm.
making because that's not what I was taught. You did what you're supposed to do, whether you like it
Yes.
or thing.
Yes, compliance and other people's comforts.
Right, making other people comfortable, I was not good at that because that was just me, wide open, you know? Anyway, that's the beginning of where I really saw the movement heal me in my own life, and then I took that into my studio and was very open with my clients, my students, my people, and I had loyal women that were moms in the same school my kids were in that came to my classes, and we literally grew up together for 15 years. We
Wow.
exchanged deaths, births, marriages, divorces, I mean, house burning, all the things. And I just realized community and that dance was a community and therapy was a community of just people as they open, because it's very scary to open and show you the inside of where I'm a mess
Yeah.
and have it be okay. And then it's like, come on, spill that mess out. Come on, spill it out. Move with it. Let it express. If it's pissed, then let your body be pissed because it's in
Yeah.
there anyway.
Yeah.
No, I probably
I
said,
love that, and you're right, community is everything, and I'm, like, so happy for that version of you that was so, like, surrounded with just good, loving people that you all just helped lift each other up. If it's okay, I had a question because I have learned so much of so many things, but not like a ton of specifics. So you mentioned something that I was like, "Ooh, I would is there anything like easy for you to explain to me on this?" Um, you learned different body fluids being shifted and moved through certain movements. Is there anything off the top of your head to offer, like, it by way of science that would help me or anyone else, like, just to understand some of why some of these movements are so helpful?
yeah, I'm gonna pick one.
Okay.
It's one of the hardest ones, was for me for a while. In the body fluid system, they had, I think it's 5 or 6 different body fluids. Blood, you had the cerebral spinal fluid, that's all in the brain, it's very ethereal, right? But the blood is the heart, it pumps, so it's the thing, it's the passion, it's the thing that keeps you going, it's the rhythm of life,
Yeah.
earth, all right? And then, there was the lymphatic system. People are like, "What's that?" It's your entire EMS system inside your body, your emergency system, where if you cut yourself and there's bacteria getting into your body, it goes, "Woo, woo, woo," goes straight to the problem. It surrounds it, and it makes it into some globule that you can, eliminate. That's very simple terms. But then it goes back. The lymph system's about being very straightforward, focused, but one single-minded, A to B, no nothing in between. But then you've got your intercellular fluid. Intercellular is like where it all happens. Your nutrients come in, your excrements go out. This is the stuff that's inside in between all your cells. But it's very, very, like, viscous and sexy and honey and ooey gooey, but it takes the edges off of you. But the one I'm going to talk about is the venous system. So you have the arterial, which is the pumping, and you have a heart that pumps it. In the veins, those are the blue things, in your body, right? They don't have oxygen. You inhale and then you exhale all the oxygen, and the blood goes back to go into the lungs again to get the oxygen to go back and be pumped to your vein, to your parts of your body. The venous system, you have to have a good rebounding system. You have to have good tone in these vessels.
Mhm.
Have a good tone so that when something goes into it, so that the oxygen goes into it, it pumps right back out. It like
Yeah.
ba-boom, ba-boom. It is the rebound. It's the resilience of us. It's the resiliency of your body going, okay, yeah, next step is it's got to go back up. And as far as movement, this is shown through the swing movement. So it's about giving into the earth, but rebounding, coming back up. It's a swing. You're up. If you swing on a swing, you're up, your feet are up here, and then gravity happens. You go back down. It's the cycle of life. But then rebound is ba-boom, I can bounce right back. I'm good. I've got confidence. I have some knowledge now. I understand that whatever's happening right now is impermanent, that I will rebound. I will be resilient. That is, I think, a very, very, very amazing concept to when you're moving with this. You do the 3-3, like the da 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 da, the waltzing, bum 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 bum. But just to get lost in that music and then to mentally go, this is my life. There's
Mhm.
ups and downs, but whenever I'm down, there's going to be an up. The roller coaster of life, wherever the roller coaster doesn't get stuck down at the bottom. No, poof, it goes back up. But momentum, you build momentum. This is the catalyst for you, for us to be resilient in life, because life's not going to be
Yeah.
perfect. But build your momentum, build your confidence, focus on what is working, focus on what you love, focus on the thing that's going to get you out of the quagmire of these consuming emotions. That's your rebound. And then you start
Yeah.
going, "You know what? I'm pretty good at this. I think I like myself." You know?
I love that. It's so true. I love the way you worded that. That's so true though, that we are all resilient. We just have to tap into that. And I've been saying this so much, like in understanding just kind of why I used to self-sabotage and um, homeostasis is a real thing, and I didn't ever know how to deal with a chemical low, and I assigned so much meaning to just a biophysical response to life, and it didn't need to mean all that negative stuff, and I wasn't immoral for having a low. So just kind of learning how to like flow with that and be like, oh, okay, how do I take care of myself in a chemical low?
Mhm,
And so I also know, as we're in like really early stages of grief right now, that I cycle through a little quicker than what I was before this loss. Um, so I now have come to understand what goes up must come down. Like if I'm having a really good time later in the day, or maybe even 3 days later, it's going to hit and I'm going to have to provide a certain level of care for myself. So I like the way you illustrated that. I
mhm.
wonder, like, at at a certain point in just, like, integration of all of this movement into your life, if that is when you developed a really strong sense of purpose.
Hmm. First of all, I wanted to make 2 comments about what you just said. You can work on yourself forever, and I have. It's not like these things disappear. Self-sabotage still happens, even with me. I run into my own lack of esteem. You look at me and you
Yeah.
go, "Wow, that girl's confident." Yes. But that doesn't mean that I have an intact self-esteem. Confidence and self-esteem are 2 different things. One's internal, one's external, and I explain this in my next book that's come out so that you can actually discern, right? So I don't want anybody to think that self-sabotage is something that you conquer.
Oh, yeah. No.
You just you just get
No.
really good at,
What do we conquer
saying,
really? We just develop really good tools for all of it, right?
yeah, tools, and it does subside after a while because you start training it. It's like, you know what? Look at what I'm good at. Stop that. And then there was something else you're talking about in the momentum. Oh, it's like I wanted to bring that, but anyway, when did I find purpose in all this? That's interesting because when I moved back to my hometown, I tried to bring all my woo woo. And I mean, I was really woo woo when I moved back. And this is a southern town. And everybody looked at me like I had three eyes. And I thought, you know what? It's just not going to, I don't know. And I'm not putting down my town at all because it's really grown since I moved back. But I went into something more traditional and I pulled on some other skills of mine. And I went into back to the corporate world, and I started running nonprofits. That's interesting because that brings in government, politics, TV, all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So it really helped my skills like grow in so many areas. And I love that. But during those 8 years, I stopped moving besides just working out in the morning, but I stopped being expressive without structure, going back to your daughter, without structure, just to express this frustration or whatever, dis-ease off. And my back and my body suffered so much. So at the end of that, I actually met a woman who found me through book writing, whatever, and she had this speaking group, a speaking business, teaching people how to speak and be on stage, and she'd film you through a studio and all that. And I got fully immersed in that. And when she was doing some coaching with me, she said, describe to me when you were at your happiest or most, impressive. And I told her about my movement therapy days. And she looked at me, she goes, why did you drop it? Why aren't
Yeah.
you doing that now? What is up? People need this. And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know." I had gotten caught up into being accepted by everybody, by the people in my town.
Mm.
If I wear a suit and I go and I, do my thing that I can do in front of a board, that made me somebody, but
Yeah.
didn't really give me my soul what my soul needed for its food. But she brought that up to me and I thought, "I don't know why I dropped it." So I literally reached back into my closet of hung up skeletons and I'm like, I gotta bring this. Well, hmm. So I brought it back out and I thought, how is this relevant nowadays? And that's been, I mean, those are the first 2 years, probably from 22, 21, 22, about 23, and then into 24 even, which was just 2 years ago, trying to find the actual application.
Yeah.
People ask me, these podcast hosts, why is it important to be in your body? And then what does that mean? I get it. I get it. I get that that makes like not really intellectual sense if you're going to intellectual,
Right. Yeah.
but it is the most important thing you can do for your life as a business person, as a partner, as a lover, as a parent, as a child to a parent. Learning how to embody your expression, your communication, learning that there's things in there that are broadcasting your story you don't want us to see or know, but that's what we see in your mouth and saying things that aren't congruent, and so we lose trust. Those
Right.
are good things to know, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so then you've only been using these practices professionally for a few years now?
Well, no, I've been a movement therapist since 1997. That's when I graduated. 98 is when I started my first. So that's 25, 26, 20, whatever years ago. That movement therapy. I stopped it for those 8 years here in
Okay.
Knoxville for that bit. I say that although I was teaching Pilates, I had yoga, and
Yeah.
the thing I
So a
really
lot
got
of
in,
different stuff, but you
right.
but you probably feel more anchored into that authenticity now than you did while you were doing some of the other things. Not the yoga and stuff, but
But I'm seeing the difference it's making because in anybody who, I don't know, has high confidence, maybe a broken self-esteem. I the imposter syndrome is pretty alive in me. I have to say that.
Really?
Honestly, being vulnerable, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But yet I keep getting these people in my life that keep pulling me.
In a world where judgment quietly shapes how we see ourselves, therapist and author Jen Taylor, LCSW, invites us into something gentler. With over 25 years as a New York based spiritual psychotherapist, Jen blends psychology, spirituality, and astrology to help women, teens, and LGBTQIA+ individuals find their way back to self worth. In Volume 7 of the Letters to Myself, Jen explores how self judgment becomes our harshest critic and how compassion can become our greatest healer. And for families navigating loss, her children's book, Melvin and His Magical Star, offers a tender story about grief, love, and the truth that love never disappears. Find hope, healing, and gentle guidance with Jen Taylor. I will have links for her in the show notes.
Yeah, we need this. We need what you have to teach, preach, be, model. I'm
Yeah.
like, "But how? What? How do I apply it? What do you want from
Yeah.
me?" You know?
Yeah.
But
So
I've
then it
really.
sounds like you're getting comfortable in the surrender of things, like just flowing to from one thing to another instead of having like some super solid plan.
Oh, it's hard, but I have to say that I've had to rely on just being me. Like, define that for everybody. What is just being yourself? Just if you just live your life, do what you love,
Mhm.
and you will attract what is supposed to be your next step. I mean,
Yep.
you can believe that, you can preach it, but man, the day that you start getting the calls of like, "We want you to present at this thing. We are having a retreat, and we want what you have at this retreat." That's when you start going, "Well, dang, I don't know. Okay."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. Like being your own medicine almost.
Well, I think you have to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think you can if you're in the self-development world and you're not self-developing, then
Right.
you then you are an imposter. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's so true. Well, and then that's where, like, I've had to even protect my own energy from other people sometimes where I'm like, "Dude, I'm so far into the woo, but I'm also real anchored into this human experience, and some of these people that I have met are not." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I will listen to some of the woo, but I don't get like because I'm again super woo woo, but I'm also a human first. So I don't try to bypass anything. I'm constantly just like learning and but I love being a student of life too. Like that's why I like getting to meet new people all the time because I love learning from other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Super woo. Tell me, define it. Give me 3 bullet points of a super woo person. I'm just curious.
Oh, well, first of all, I am in love with astrology.
Yeah,
So
cool.
that's the first one. The second would be like psychic medium stuff. I love psychic mediums. I mean, I feel like it's all a gift. Like it's a gift all of us can tap into. And
Yes.
I read tarot and stuff. I've not been able to really develop any real medium skills, but I believe in all of it, like love all of it. And then the baseline woo woo is when psychology and science and spirituality all merge. I'm right there in that convergence, and then just the other stuff I said. That would be a baseline of how I'm super woo, but I listen to the weird stuff and I'm like, "Yeah, that checks for me too." I kinda believe that. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting because I would consider myself as far woo as anybody could ever go, actually, with, I mean, planetary things and
uh-huh.
beings and all that. And I don't have a problem because nowadays I've been so judged. I'm my worst judge. I'm so judged. I'm like, just be out there because what's funny is every
Yes.
time I've said something about the Pleiadians, I mean, people lean closer into their podcast and like, "Wait, did you just say that?" I'm like, "Yes, I did." So I think it's interesting that we still are comfortable with
Yeah.
whatever that label of woo-woo is, you
Right.
know?
Well, I think it's just anything non-mainstream, especially where I don't know where you were raised, but I'm born and raised in Oklahoma. I've been here my whole life.
Okay.
So, very similar atmosphere. And so at first, I mean, I was born and raised in a very religious place, but I believed all of that for a long time. So I had my own internalized fear, which I know is still very alive and well around. Like other people still have that fear. And
Mhm.
then at first it was like, well, I don't want you to not hear this really life-changing information that I'm like sharing and be afraid that it's a demon sharing it because I believe in astrology and every other, thing. So it was like that, but, I mean, yeah, afraid of rejection too, obviously, but it's I don't believe it's, like, so anti-mainstream now, honestly. There are so many people who have the same beliefs as we do, but I didn't see that before when I was really scared to share it.
Yeah. Well, the podcast world has really opened up a world of non-structure and non-linear thinking
Mhm.
because what is given permission to are the people out there driving in their cars that happen upon a podcast and go, oh my God, they said, oh, wow. I think the same thing too. Let me hear more about that. It gives us the permission to expound or to express, maybe our
Mhm.
heart, maybe our mind, but the things you think are woo woo actually have science behind it. So,
Right,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. That's
yeah.
well, and I try to explain that, but then I'm like, "Well, I'm just being defensive at this point." Like, I don't I just throw my shit out there and whoever it lands with, great, 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 That it is what it is.
So
But
my next book that's coming out, it'll be out in March, is called What's Messing with Your Messages: Bridging the Gap Between What You Say and What You Mean. So it has a lot to do with your body language and what's going on in here that's conveying out here and what you do with it. But I talk about the 5 pillars of communication, one of which is called knowledge, and that is know your person you're speaking to, know your subject. You can't talk to scientists as a non-scientist, and talk about their subject. You have to know your subject, that's for sure. But you have to know your audience. That means there's cultural, there's respect, there's responsibility. There's
yeah.
5 pillars, and in that, responsibility is you're responsible for your what comes out of your mouth, no matter what. That also means you've got to be culturally, mentally, and emotionally responsible to who you're speaking to. So I say, like for different cultures, for the Hindus or whatever, mostly it's visual things that don't vibe with them, like the bottom of a shoe or a woman's chest that's exposed from the cleavage up, things like
Mhm.
that. But what it does is not saying that you're a bad speaker or you're a bad presenter. What you're doing is providing distraction for them because you didn't know. But it's up for you to know. So, as a messenger, as a podcaster, is to know your audience because not everybody out there is going to be drawn, but those who are your people. You've got to be true and honest and speak what's true for you, never holding back.
Mhm.
Also knowing that those people that vibe, that understand, that have the same culture and understanding that you do will be your corral of peeps. So it's
Yes.
I really try to break down communication because my ultimate goal is that we all learn how to communicate better. And it starts with
Great
yourself.
goal. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
So
love it. Man, I've loved having you today. Tell us where we can find you, where your books are, all the things.
okay, so my name is Angel Howard, Howard. You can Google me and I should come up right there. Um, angelhoward.co.co. Angelhoward.co. That is my website. Sign up for my email. I send out about 4 emails a year, but on that is comprehensive. All the retreats I have coming out, all the books I have coming out. I've got a new book coming out on Amazon. I'm soon to be able to have my books on my website. But right now, if you go on Amazon and you look for Issues in Your Tissues by Angel Howard, that's the first book that's out there. And that's really about the conversation you're having with your body that your body is having with you. And it teaches you that communication and how you can heal your life, how you can actually be a powerful person in your body by having this relationship with that vehicle that carries you around. And then What's Messing with Your Messages will be out in March on Amazon. But angelhoward.co. You can
Okay.
email me, angel@angelhoward.co. I try to make it super easy. So remember the name and you can find me.
Well, and I will make sure that I include that in the show notes, and anything like any socials that you've put on your Podmatch profile, I will link in there too. But I like people to say it out loud too, because some people don't go to the show notes to look. But yeah, I loved having you. Thank you so much for such an awesome conversation. I really had a good time with you today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to press stop if you'll hang out for 1 sec.
Hey, make sure you've given the show a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to if you haven't already. And check out my website, empoweredwithmelisahepner.org, or my link tree on Instagram at melissa.hepner to check out my latest offers or workshops. All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.